to Inside Your Finance podcast, where we explore people's relationships with money by chatting with everyday professionals like me and you. We dive into their money journeys, their wins, their mistakes, and we also learn about some of the tips and tricks that they've learned along the way. My name is Jennifer Ikaroje. On today's episode, we have someone who I've known my entire life and has been a really big inspiration to me. I've honestly just watched him and learned a lot of the things that I know today. I would say this, a life hack is having a big sibling, like a senior sibling, because you really don't have to figure out life by yourself. You just copy and paste and follow what they do. So today's guest is none other than my big brother, Solomon Ikaroje. Solomon, thank you for coming. Solomon is a senior director at a leading bank in Canada, and he's been doing that for over a decade. So he has a wealth of knowledge as pertains to money management and really just building wealth. But we're not going to explore his career today. We're just going to learn more about his money journey, his money stories, and see how he's been building wealth so far. So Solomon, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Solomon, so I know I already mentioned that you're a senior director at the bank, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself? So let's start with, what are the kind of things that you love to do in your spare time when you're not being a big banker?
Did you hear that Chelsea won the World Club Cup
I heard. I'm a
yesterday?
Chelsea fan too.
Oh, are you now?
Yeah,
Oh,
because you're a
yes.
Chelsea fan.
Yeah, part-time.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yes, I love sports. Big fan of Chelsea Football Club. Big fan of American football, Steelers. Also a big fan of basketball, Raptors.
Nice.
I don't play myself. I just watch the sports and go with the ambience and atmosphere of cheering on your favorite team
Nice.
or crying when they lose. Spending time with the family is big, obviously. You get a lot of regenerative juices from the time you spend with your family. Also enjoy traveling, which is huge for me because it kind of gives you some kind of life lesson in terms of what you need to improve on yourself when you see other people doing different things that you're not used to, different environments, how you flex your adaptability muscle.
Right.
It's important to always spend time with your folks from work as well. Learn from them about how they manage their own work-life balance, because you can take some tips from them too. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
That's really cool. So you actually mentioned quite a few things. So you love sports, you love to travel, you love to spend time with family. And I can't help but feel like I also can relate to that because I love to travel as well. I love spending time with family. I also love sports. I mean, I don't think I've watched a full Chelsea game, but I'm definitely a Chelsea fan.
I know you haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually did go to a Chelsea game live in Chelsea, but it was the most painful experience because after the first 10 minutes, I was bored. I don't know how you guys do it. But I also want to say, fun fact is, and this is how much of an inspiration you are, if you're not going to say it, I'm going to address the elephant in the room and just put it out there. The name Inside Your Finance was actually, I actually stole it from my brother. Yes, I am a thief. I stole it from him. He actually started Inside Your Finance. I think he used to tweet money management tips. And I remember at the time, this was like back in 2016, I wanted to also start blogging about money. And I couldn't think of a name. And I was just like, why don't I just take his name? But then I was smart about it because I reached out and I was like, hey, let's do this together. And I think we had like a couple of blog posts together. And then you dropped off and I just kept the name. So
Can I just add that that's a perfect example of a hostile takeover. So if anyone is trying to think about what a hostile takeover is in financial markets, that is exactly it.
Exactly. So
You
there
sneak
you
your
go.
way in as a partner, and then you kick out your partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't kick out my partner because you kind of just voluntarily left.
I don't think I actually left.
Okay, so we can just leave it as it is. All right, Solomon. So we're going to just jump right into it. One of the things that I really want to do with this podcast is explore the nature-nurture dichotomy as it pertains to money and how we react or relate with money. So I guess I know how our parents obviously talked about money, but I guess for the sake of our audience, how did our parents relate with money growing up, and how do you think that has shaped how you see money today?
Interesting question. Obviously, your dad was, I don't want to use the word frugal. He was very planning. He took planning seriously with everything, including, or most importantly, money, right? Because he looked at the future and always wanted to be prepared to not be in a shortfall. If you remember before you got something and you wanted money from him, you had to write a list,
Yep.
right? And you had to come up with what is your expectation of what you want to use this money for.
Yeah.
And then we also had a very good balance with mom, who is very generous
Yeah.
with,
You say that.
with how she spends money. Money expenses were based on her feelings, right? So it was a good balance, to
Yeah.
have the best of both sides.
She liked quality over, so she would buy the quality item over like saving on things.
Quality is subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's a nice way to put it.
yeah. So it was when you have that balance, I'm sure yourself as well, you learn from the best of both sides and maybe pick up a few bad habits from both sides as well. So yeah, how has it played a role in my own idea of money? I think that planning is one thing that I picked from Dad, but also how important it is to live a quality life is the one thing I picked from Mom. Balancing the two is the perfect balance, or the perfect line you want to draw,
Right.
in terms of coming out and feeling like, hey, you're living a good life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I can relate to that. It's like a really nice balance of, you don't just go out and just spend. There has to be a plan, but then you have a balance between like enjoying life and planning and
Yeah.
saving. But I'm actually curious, what was your earliest memory of money? Like, when did you realize that, wow, money is actually a thing that's important, that you actually need for life? Because I imagine, like, as a kid, if you need a toy, it just shows up, right? But at what point was that separation between these things just come when I want it versus, okay, money is actually what we use to buy these things?
Why don't I answer the question of when did I make my first money?
Okay, sure.
This was in high school. I think it was grade 8 or grade 9.
And how old were you?
I don't remember, but I remember the grade, right?
Okay.
I recall we had a school project and we had to all make shoe polish. So this teacher taught us how to make shoe polish, right?
I
And
think I remember
I know
this.
you do. And
I just remember the smell.
I know. So we all had to go home and make shoe polish and bring it back to school the next day or whenever the homework was due. And because of the disgusting ingredients that was put into making this shoe polish, most of my classmates didn't want to do it. And so I made mine quickly the first day, and I'm showing it off to my friends, and they're like, "Can you make mine for me?" Like, yeah, I could, but you have to pay for the ingredients, right? But also there's a commission on top of that too, my efforts, and they did. I made a lot of money off that. I made so much money that's when I started getting like the passion, or I guess the hunger, like, this is interesting. You put an effort in, right? Inputs, and then you get money as the output.
Right.
And that just made me very hungry. And the good thing about that too was Mom was very encouraging of the fact that I was able to do that, and she kept encouraging me to do, make some more or look for other ways to make money. So it got me excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that must have been like 12, 13, right? So at that age, I guess that was the age where you realized that, wow, if I actually put in effort, I would make money. And it felt good, I'm sure.
It felt
like
good.
Getting
Because I was a monopoly, right? So it was a unique venture. Nobody else in the school was doing it.
But was the polish actually good? Or
I
were
don't-
people just buying it?
I mean, we all submitted it, and I don't think we failed that class.
Okay. No, I mean, like, as you had customers, did anyone like give a bad review?
I don't think they used the polish. It was just for submission.
Just for
Yeah.
oh, they bought it so they could submit it
Exactly.
because they didn't want to do it.
Nobody was branding
Oh,
my polish.
actually, that's smart.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
get it. Okay,
There's no
wow.
quality check.
Right. Interesting. So then I guess that's where you learned that you actually need to create value to make money,
Exactly.
because people
You find a
you
unique.
meet a need.
Exactly. You find
Right.
a need and you look for a way to meet it and
Right.
get paid for it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And that kind of stayed with you throughout
Of
your
course.
life, like as you've grown
Yeah.
older. So what would you say then is like one of your, I guess from that experience where you finally learned that money is value exchange,
Mm-hmm.
right? Was there ever a moment where you found that you didn't quite have that means to exchange that value? So essentially what I'm asking is, was there a moment where you had like a money low, where you were low on cash, or where you kind of struggled to make ends meet? And walk me through that, if you ever experienced that, and how did you get yourself out of that?
No, next question.
Why do I have that kind of hard to believe? So you mean there's never been a time where you've been low on cash, or you needed like extra $100 or something?
No.
Even when you were in uni, or?
So I'll take you back to the balance between dad and mom, right? I think dad taught us that you could survive in any situation. You don't always need money to live life. When you're looking at a situation some people would go through where they say, I need an extra $100, right? You think about dad's question, and be like, what do you really need it for? That thing you want to spend $100 for, do you really need it?
Right.
So I guess my take in life, and it got better over time, because I struggled, obviously, as younger man trying to get through that. It's not so much about focusing on the need that's, hey, I want $100, or I'm short of money for this $100. It's more, do I need to reset my standards so that $100 I don't have doesn't become something that I feel like I'm missing out on?
Interesting.
So
it's more of a mindset thing.
exactly.
So you're saying that no one is actually ever broke. They
No
just
one-
need to shift their mindset.
I'll ask you this question, right? Have you ever seen somebody so broke that they died of being broke?
No, but I actually have been very broke that I cried because I didn't have money to eat.
I would say that you didn't have money to eat the food you wanted to eat.
No, and I'll give you the story. This is what
Okay.
happened. I was kind of broke. I didn't have, so dad obviously was giving me an allowance, but I wasn't really good. I wasn't a good steward of the money. And so there was a time where I was really hungry. I knew that I had $15 in my bank account. That's all I had. And I was going to go to the school cafeteria to get food. At the time, like, Chinese food was like $8, $10 max. I knew I was going to have enough before dad sends me my allowance, right? But I went there, tried to pay for the food, and it said insufficient funds. Why? Because the bank had deducted, I think, like a $10 fee, because apparently I had spent, I think at the time, there was like a 20 transaction limit, and I had done more than 20 transactions. And so they took a fee of $10. So I only had $5, and it wasn't enough to buy, this $10 meal that would have been like my first meal of the day or the only meal of the day. And so this is why I've stuck with neobanks, because there are no fees. But anyways, I
Okay.
digress.
Okay.
But that's an example. I guess maybe you might say like, yeah, $5 is probably enough to buy something. But at the time, the cheapest meal I could find was $10, and I only had 5. So that's an example of where I was actually very broke.
So you were hungry.
Huh?
You were hungry. Is
I
what
hadn't
you
eaten all day.
hadn't eaten all day.
Yeah.
$5 is what you had.
Yeah.
You want to tell me you can't find food for $5?
This was the cheapest meal. This was like in university. I'm sure I could have found, but what I wanted to eat, what I knew was going to fill me up because that was going to be my only meal for the entire day, was this Chinese meal that was only $10. Maybe it was like $8.95, but it was approximately $10. And my $5 couldn't get that. Maybe I could have gone to buy like a cinnamon bun, but that would only last like, what, 3 hours and I'll be hungry again.
So I could take you back to what you just said, what
Sure.
you wanted to eat.
Yeah,
Okay.
I heard that.
So I get what you're saying, but again, it's all about the mind, right? If you're able to reset your standards based on your available funds, I don't think you would ever consider yourself broke or short of funds.
Okay, so if I could summarize that, you're saying that no one's ever broke. You just have to rewire your mind to meet the resources that you have. If you have
Yeah.
$5, then
There are
only
two,
look for $5
there are two
meal.
ways to it, right? Again, dad and mom.
Yeah,
You could have the motivation to reset your standards to meet your available funds, or you can have the motivation to push yourself because you have a quality of standard that you don't want to, reduce,
right.
to make more money or find more money. So you could drive yourself to look for more money in unique ways, aka a shoe polish, right? Selling to your classmates, or you could be comfortable in, hey, I only have $5. I'm only going to find something that $5 can feed me because you go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Money is on a very mental scale, or
Right.
how do you put it? It's more about the prestige,
Right.
right, of what you.
Like it gets to a point where it's more than your needs and
Exactly.
just more about, yeah.
If you're focusing on just your needs, I don't think that being broke is a thing.
Interesting. So, guys, you've heard it. Being broke is all in your mind. And focusing on your needs is probably where the issue is, and maybe rewiring your brain more so. And I think that's actually such a good tip because it's more so than what you cannot afford versus how do I afford. I guess it's two things. Either how do I afford what I can afford, or what I want, or how do I increase my earning capacity so that I can afford the things that I actually want? Is that kind of?
Yeah, I would say that. Now, there's a second level to this stuff. Some folks are very focused on trying to get the funds for the standards they set for themselves, that they would push themselves to get into that borrowing phase. Right, so now that's a different angle. If we're just talking about money coming in and money going out, that's fair. But when you start borrowing, now what you're doing is you're trying to meet your wants, not a need, a want,
Right.
on funds that you don't even have.
That's actually very interesting. I actually want us to explore that. As someone who's obviously been in that industry for a while, what would you say about people's relationships with debt and, what you've seen, I guess, in your experience as a banker? Do you think that, obviously there's good debt and there's bad debt, right? But how would you describe what you've seen in your experiences? Is there a clear line? Do people understand that clear line? And how do people relate with that?
Yeah, I don't think that there is good debt. I think if you're owing money, right, it's an obligation to pay back what you just borrowed. And I won't rate it as good debt or bad debt. I'll say there's smart ways to need funds, to borrow funds, smart reasons. And there's very, I would say, more of a wanting reason to borrow money. Not necessarily important, but you just feel like you need to borrow because you don't want to show off or you want to just continue your standard of life. I don't want to use the word show off because I'm not trying to put anyone down. But when you look at borrowing, it's got to be smart, right? You have, somebody who is sitting in the White House right now who got his way into business, right? And was able to own a couple of different businesses from borrowed funds. But all of that was smart borrowing because it was based on secured assets, not his own personal money.
Right.
So that business could go boom. They're not coming after him. So it was structured in a way where you're borrowing to increase your own wealth. Right? And you've also got a fail safe that if that investment does not work out, you're not getting hit personally. Secure borrowing is great. Mortgages, a lot of people ask the question, should I rent or should I own? To each their own, right?
Right.
But if there's an opportunity for you to buy a home because it has an opportunity to increase in value, and that value would outpace whatever you're paying in interest, that's an investment, right? You borrow money to buy a stock, and because you have that feeling, or I guess some guy has told you in the bathroom in the train
In your
station
dream.
that, hey, this stock is going to jump up tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's insider trading, so no.
Yeah, exactly.
Then so it's okay to, if you have a good feeling about an investment or a stock going up, it's okay to borrow funds and
Right.
invest in it. Now, if the stock crashes, again, it's an investment, right? It's a
Yeah.
risk you're willing to take. But because that is going to grow beyond whatever servicing fee for borrowing that money you're going to pay, smart investing.
Interesting.
Now, there's the investing where, well, the borrowing, smart borrowing. There's borrowing where you take money you don't have from somebody that you promise to pay them back in interest just to fulfill a want.
Yeah.
Then you look at it as, well, what is the point of that if it's not growing your wealth? And basically, you've just turned $100 you want to spend now into $150 XXX, depending on how much longer you pay for it.
Right.
In the future, is that want that you have right now really worth that future value of how much you're going to pay this person back?
That's very interesting. I actually wanted to explore that a little bit. Have you ever lent a friend money that, or I guess, what are your principles around lending friends money or lending people that you know money?
That's a very touchy subject. I've had bad experiences.
Yeah, let's explore that. And tell me one of those bad experiences and how that has shaped how you view lending people money.
Yeah, I'm not a bank. I'm an individual, right? And banks lend money because it's not coming from one person's pocket. People are very personal with their money, right? If you lend money to a friend, it can destroy your relationship. Either in terms of, you go to the bank, they tell you, we're going to borrow you this money for 5 years. You got 60 months to pay us back, and you have to pay this month, this month, this month. If you miss a payment 1 month, the bank's like, hey, what's up, right? If you miss a payment the second month, the bank's going to say, okay, we're going to tell the credit bureau that you're messing up here, you're not paying us plan. Third month, okay, there's a credit check and all that stuff. And it's going to impact your credit bureau, sure. But, no one in the bank's going to take it personal because it's an institution, right?
Right, yeah.
Now, if your friend misses a payment as planned in the first month.
So, but have you had that experience though?
That's why I said I've had a bad experience with borrowing money from
So
friends.
what happened?
I'm not going to go into detail about that.
Just give us like a quick...
My friend could be a part of your audience right now. And maybe crying
You don't have
and
to
feel
mention
bad.
the name.
I'm sure the person would know if I mention the events of it. But I wouldn't go into borrowing to friends, after the experiences I've had.
So you would never lend a friend
No.
money? Okay.
Now, if I have funds that are available for me and someone's in need, I can help them out. And now maybe they promise to pay me back, right? But I like to use that mindset of, if I've got the funds, I'll help you out because in case they don't pay me back, it's still seen as help. If they pay me
Right.
back, great, we celebrate together. Thank you, man. Let's,
Right. So essentially, you only give money that you can afford to lose.
Correct.
You basically consider it as a gift
That's right.
versus lending them money.
keyword there being afford. If I can't afford it,
Right.
then I won't be given any
Okay.
money.
So I guess the key lesson here is don't give money that you can't afford to lose. Don't give money that it would keep you up at night if you don't get it back. Because
Yeah.
I've seen some stories of people lending their friends like tens of thousands of dollars, and it's just like, bruh. If you know it's going to be money that is going to keep you up at night, it's not worth, because those things can destroy friendships, right? It's not
Yeah.
worth destroying the friendship, when you could easily just say, you don't have. Or
Exactly.
give, even if you give the amount that you can give and forget about it if they don't pay back.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. So I guess as we go through, I mean, now I know like how your journey through like money and your relationship with money was formed through like, your parents and even your own personal experience with building money. Now that you're older, and I know that you've been a banker for over a decade now, I'm actually very curious to know this. How much of an influence did money play in your decision to become a banker?
Not at all. If money was influencing my decision, I won't go into banking.
Well, what would you go into? Actually, I'm curious.
Wow. If you remember when I was a kid, I actually wanted to do go into automobile
Yes, automobile engineer.
engineering.
Yeah.
Right. I was so fascinated about cars and trying to make cars and build out my own designs. But if it was a money motivation, I'll be looking for my own business, right? But at the time, it was a passion to contribute to the society, to the community in terms of giving advice to clients, right? I thought that there were a couple of things I learned from school that I could bring in a unique way to provide financial advice to clients at the time. Now, bear in mind, I didn't start off. I mean, the first interview I had, it was with together with another company that was not a bank, and I think the questions they were asking me and the research I did that's what really drove me. Okay, I think I can leave my mark in banking. The opportunity to meet clients coming new in the city, meet new people, all together to say, hey, I think this might be a career for me. And
Interesting.
when you're in it, you start seeing more ways that you could show your value and, unique ways to deliver something that you thought would be positive to your company, your employer, or, even your coworkers or the community as a whole.
So for you, it was mostly passion, just passion for giving back to the community.
That's right. Yeah.
Interesting. So moving along, I think now that you're obviously older and you're more mature and you've gone through your journey with money, what would you say are some of your key investment principles and things that are guiding how you're building wealth today?
What is my fail-safe is always the question, right? What's the worst case scenario, and can I manage that? Right? If you're buying a stock and you look at the stock and you say, if this stock was to go down, what's the lowest that would go down, and how much would that impact me?
Interesting.
Right? Again, with borrowing money. If you're borrowing money, can I manage when things go down? Can I be able to afford to make this repayment back? Right? So I always look at the downside of things. Maybe that's a banker in me.
So you're always looking at interesting. So is that the investment principle that's guiding how you're building wealth, or even just a money principle in general? Are you more of a saver? Are you keeping? Because I actually know some people who are keeping the finer things for later. So they're not taking vacations now because they want to save as much as they can so they can take vacations when they retire.
Okay.
How are you looking at it in that sense?
So I'm a spender, but I'm also a saver. And again, dad and mom. I look at it as you have to, when you get income, you have to pay yourself. Put some money away that you could say, okay, this amount of money I'm dedicating to spend on myself. And if you increase your income, then that percentage should increase, how much you're spending on yourself. What a lot of people do is sometimes they borrow from their younger self and they try to pay for it with their older self.
That's
Right?
deep. Borrow from your younger self and pay for it
That's your older
at
self.
your older self.
Which is not, it's not fair for
Yeah.
your older self, right?
Yeah.
So how do you balance it out? You make sure that no matter how young you are, old you are, whatever age you are, take a certain percentage and look at it and say, okay, this particular percentage is how much of my income I'm going to spend on myself.
Right.
And again, going back to setting your standards,
Yeah.
right? Don't travel to Mexico and stay in a 5-star resort when you are only making entry-level income.
Yeah.
Right,
Unless you
because-
use points.
Because you want to look like you're fly, right?
Right,
And have
right.
all this Instagram, IG posts.
Yeah.
Well, you can live within your means, and then as you push yourself, you make more income. That also
Mm-hmm.
increases as well too.
Interesting. So that's what you're doing essentially.
Yeah.
You're not robbing your future self. You're essentially
That's right. Yeah.
interesting. So as we wrap up here, is there any money mistake that you've made?
Tons.
Is there one that has been most impactful? Which the lesson that you learned from that has basically guided how you've, spent money or how you view money?
I don't think that there's anything, like I said, fail safe, can I recover? I'll always try to find a way to recover from whatever
Right.
mistakes I made.
But which one was the most impactful lesson that you learned from?
Um, the most impactful lesson of money I've learned would take it back to shoe polish.
But money mistake.
A money mistake was I wasn't charging enough money for that shoe
Oh
polish.
my God.
And I'm serious about this, and I think for your audience, it would be an important lesson. Like, don't sell yourself short, right? In terms of your value, know how much your value impacts the need of whoever is looking to pay for it, and charge appropriately. Don't ever sell yourself short, because
Interesting.
you never get back that opportunity of what you just missed on.
Right.
So income is always great. Now, if you look at it in terms of a percentage of your income is going to be paying yourself, you now start seeing a need to get more income because you want your standards to go up.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you were to give any advice to your younger self, say your 16-year-old self,
Know your
what would it
worth.
be? Know your worth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Know your worth and value yourself highly. Maybe not too cocky, but value yourself highly. A lot of people are very nervous when they come out of school, thinking that anything they're going to take, they have to take, or they don't know how to explain the value they can bring. Always know your worth, always know the value you present, and sell it accordingly. And you get paid what you deserve.
I love that.
Yeah.
Get paid. Okay. Know your worth and sell yourself
Yeah.
accordingly.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to play a quick game.
Okay?
You know the red pill, blue pill thing, right? From Matrix.
Yes.
I never watched Matrix, by the way. But I think I watched it through you guys.
Yeah, we told you about it.
Yeah. So, so I'm going to ask you, so of course you know the red pill, blue pill thing. So you pick one.
Okay?
So red pill is you work 100 hours, never see your family, never miss all the family events and everything, but you retire a multi-millionaire, even heck, a billionaire at 45. Blue pill is you make only 90K for the rest of your life, and you retire maybe at 60, 70, with a modest retirement. Which one will you choose?
Which one has the family time?
So you're going to choose the...
Exactly.
Okay. So you're going to choose making just capped at 90K. There's nothing you can do to increase your income, but you're going to retire, maybe modest, maybe you might still need to work till you're 80.
What makes you make his 90K sound bad?
No, no, but so you're saying like that's your choice. You're going to go...
The most important
And
thing
explain
is
why.
45, tired of 45, you're still going to go back to family who obviously resent you because you never spend time with them.
Right.
And then you try to make up for it by spending more than you actually should be, and that money's gone quick. Right?
But imagine you're a billionaire though, so it's not going to just drain like that.
You're not defined by your money in your bank account.
Okay.
Right? So
So why are you choosing blue? Because you value family
that's right.
time.
A good balance is always good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to also ask you a few more questions. Okay. So you're going to it's called save or splurge. So you're going to tell me if you're going to save or you're going to splurge and buy it. So tailored suits.
Splurge.
Splurge?
Yeah.
Why?
It's got to tailor, got to fit, man. I don't want to be wearing a butter because I'm thinking that I'm wearing suits.
Okay. Designer shoes.
Save.
Save?
Yeah.
Why? You don't rate shoes like that?
I don't rate shoes like that.
Okay. Interesting. Personal chef.
Save.
Save?
Yeah. I like to cook.
You like to cook?
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's fun.
Luxury car.
What do you consider luxury?
Luxury is like from Lamborghini and up.
Oh, Lamborghini and up?
Yeah.
Save on that.
Save?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I mean, it's got a short shelf life. And we live in Calgary. Where are you driving it to? Right, you're gonna be driving it for like 2 months of a year. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, this brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you so much, Solomon, for
Thanks
joining.
for having me
I
to
think we
my own
learned a
show.
lot. Maybe I'll have you as my guest. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm sure this was helpful. Please like, share with a friend who might find this helpful, and don't forget to subscribe. Tune in next time as we continue to explore more personal finance stories from everyday individuals like me and you. As always, I'm your host, Jennifer Ikoroje, and this is Inside Your Finance.